And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the inaugural Agent Ong Open. We are now at squad number 5, right here on Bowlstream TV. My name is Emil Williams Jr. We welcome you back in. If this is your first time joining us, we say, first of all, thank you. Please go ahead and hit that thumbs up, subscribe to Bowlstream TV. Support not only Bowlstream TV, but most importantly, this weekend, support the Agent Ong Open. And Carl and Kathy Ong, the creators and founders of this wonderful event. Carl will be, or is joining us, as he has in the, throughout the weekend, or the week, I should say. Is it the weekend now?
It has officially started. The weekend has officially started, for sure.
Game 1. So squad 5 is now again underway. Let's get you some scores up top here. Oh man. Someone said, what was our opening squad? Thursday.
Thursday at 9 a.m.
Someone said, man, a bowling tournament starting on Thursday? And I was like, it is a, I knew it was starting on Thursday, but it didn't click until, right? It's like, oh, it's Thursday. The bowling tournament started, which never happened. So I applaud you for that, man. I do. That's good stuff.
We want to give as many people an opportunity to show up, a little bit early and see what we can get out of it. And you know what? There's a lot of people that showed up on Thursday.
Thursday was rocking.
We added some incentives, to it. Discounted entry as well as the sweeper and the action match. That we're still talking about from last night.
I was a big fan of the essentially 3-for-1 to a degree. 3 squads for 1 entry fee. And if you added it up from the early bird perspective, if you added up and you bowl 2 regular squads, it'd be about the same price. So you get that extra one theoretically.
Yep. As long as you bowled on Thursday, that was an opportunity for everyone, for sure.
Roto Schlim is back in the booth as well.
What up, what up? We have a whole new, obviously we've got some repeat offenders, but we do have some,
first
I can't say a whole new cast of characters, but we do have some new characters to the game, which is cool to see. And obviously, you're talking about some of the early birds and some of the folks that have actually bowled multiple squads now. Again, you give them a little bit of incentive. And so I don't think my guy's bowled tonight. And I'm trying to remember his name. He's bowled a few different squads now. My man's left-handed, it's left-handed two-hander, struggling quite a bit.
Nate Prince.
Yes. My man started bowling in June.
Yes, and
he came up and he goes, Mr. Schlimmer, he goes, I've seen some videos and stuff. He goes, I just want to say thank you and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, hey, man, thanks for coming out. And he's like, I goes, this is really cool. He goes, I got the bug. He's got 8 bowling balls. He's started bowling in June. He goes, this is my first real tournament. He goes, man, they're tough. I said, bro, well, you picked kind of a tough one to start with. If this is your first real tournament. And that's what I explained some stuff earlier. And but what I'm saying is that right there is why we do what we do, to our love and passion for the sport of bowling, but also, he lives 40 minutes away, he said, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we were talking about this event, like, you don't think of, hey, this guy's only been bowling for a handful of months.
Right.
And he's going to come bowl my tournament.
No.
And, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, you're thinking of, hey, are we going to get guys? Well, we had a guy traveling from Canada, a guy from Nashville, like. June, July, August, September. My man's been bowling 5 months.
Correct.
And he's bowled multiple squads.
Yes.
And was absolutely ecstatic and thankful. He's like, it's kind of tough. He goes, I'm trying to figure it out.
No, and a little story about that.
Yeah.
He had signed up, and he did not have an established average.
Okay.
So I gave him a call because I wanted to kind of understand, and also explain to him, if you don't have a composite average over the last few years, you're going to come in scratch. And I didn't really know where his average was.
Right.
So I gave him a call personally, and we had a conversation, and he told me that he had just started bowling. And to be fair, I explained to him, this is probably more on the higher end type bowling tournament, and
Didn't matter.
and it would be challenging, and the competition might be a little more stout compared to a normal maybe little local tournament.
Sure.
Yep.
And he said he did not care, and I said you're not going to get any wood, and I even explained, do you have an idea what your average? Like 160, and I stated to him, I don't know if you want to jump feet head first in my tournament, but I commend you if you do.
Absolutely.
And he goes, I don't care if I come in scratch.
Yep.
I just want to bowl.
He wants the bowl. Yep.
And I said, you know what?
and that's what's
Absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Thank you. And what a nice guy. Every time I've had interactions with him throughout this week,
That's what.
Just
when
happy
he
to be
came up
here.
and introduced himself
That's a
to
great
me,
story.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Hey, man, nice to meet you." And we got to talking about some stuff. Anyways, he mentioned bowling balls, and he's like, he goes, "I want to get better at this." I goes, "I've got the itch. I want to get good." Like he goes, "But I know I have to. In order to get better, I have to do this." He goes, "But in the meantime, I'm going to get a coach." I said, "Brilliant." I said, "Go get some lessons." I said, "You've been cutting your teeth." I said, he goes, "Oh, I got another squad. I think I'm going to bowl tomorrow." I'm like, "You gonna bowl?" He goes, "I think so." I mean, he's all in.
Yeah.
So
I had asked him how he heard about my tournament, and he said that he saw it on a flyer at B3. And I said right there, you are in the right place already. I said to him, Mike Calderon, Randy, Wesley, Brett, all these guys.
and that's
over
what I
there.
mentioned to him.
Yeah,
And
I
he
go-
goes, okay. And so I didn't know that he'd already been there.
Yeah,
I
so-
mentioned, I said,
I go, that's a
one
training
common place would
facility.
be to go to there. And he goes, okay. And then obviously we had interactions. And I think you called me in when our buddy showed up from El Paso, Texas.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's another guy that
Yep.
I have run into so many people that I have not seen in 1, 2, 10, 15, 20 plus years now
Yep.
that have come out to show some love and support for this
Yep.
tournament. And, man, amazing. So, yeah, we have Matt Miller,
Yep.
former lane man for the PBA Tour. Drove all the way out here from El Paso, Texas to hang out and be part of the tournament this weekend.
Yep. He messaged me last week and last week or the week before. Actually, what might have been Thursday night when I was, at an event, and I said, "Hey man," he goes, "Hey man, sorry to bother you." I wasn't putting two and two together, and he goes, "Dude," and I go, "Oh my gosh, bro! Like literally haven't seen him in many years." But anyway, that's what's cool. That's what we've talked about, family and what we've been doing.
Well, looks like a couple players have gotten the memo about Squad 4 being very high scoring.
Oh, wow.
Because in front of us, Mike Hardesty, shout out to Mike, West Texas A&M graduates. We bowled collegiately at the same time, and he was a great person then, still one now. And I'll tell you a story about Mike here in a minute, but he's at the front six. Felipe.
Was
Let's go.
also the front six.
Felipe at 3U. I'm still trying to remember which tournament it was I saw him at. It was either New Mexico or the Cactus Classic earlier this year. But he made a nice run at the number, if I recall correctly, and he's trying to do it right now. Or at least get himself off to the best start possible. So how about this? Well, 9 and 10 is doing it again. Had good stuff this
And you
morning.
notice someone is not speaking right now.
It
just-
should have got the memo a long time ago.
No, but there's someone in between us that's not speaking right
I
now.
know.
And this is
that
this,
person
come on, Mike.
should have gotten the memo.
Oh,
Get lucky.
is it because we even talked about it?
Well, I applaud.
Oh, goodness
now,
gracious!
what's the rule? I guess he can't speak for the next at
It's
least
like
2
even
minutes.
if you notice it, he has to like turn around or something.
At least 2 minutes because it's Felipe's turn, so he's got to wait.
Yeah. Maybe
Well-
if he turns around this next shot. Let's see.
Since Mike did not strike, I will go ahead and then tell the story. So Mike and his wife have been listening to our coverage here. Now I'm really going to tell a good story, so he can shake that off. And Mike decided, or he and his wife said, we were talking about the dessert situation, and Jeff earlier, and I didn't get the wild berry crisp at your house. front seven for Felipe. So we won't hear from this person, I guess, for another 5 minutes. And that's fine. And he knows where to find us when it's time. But Mike and his wife said, okay, well, Emil missed the dessert. So they stopped by a local bakery and picked up what I believe are cupcakes in this box, which I am going to share.
Yes.
Because he told me there are 2 chocolate ones in there, which he also said he didn't want me to get a headache. So I'm free to disperse those.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, we'll give those to Slim and Carl. No issues there as well. So thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Hardesty for your kind and warm generosity.
One story about Mike. He's a realtor as well. And, we're not in competition with each other, although we're in the same industry. He's such a nice guy. He'll give the shirt off his back. And I can't say any more nicer things about both him and his wife. Super generous, super kind people, and nothing but the best for them. And there might be an opportunity where Mike and I actually start working together.
Oh, that's great.
We're chatting about it.
Okay.
So we appreciate each other's work ethic, and that might be something that's going to happen down the road shortly.
That industry being, is it public
real
knowledge?
estate?
Okay.
Yeah, real estate.
I don't want to put
Absolutely.
anybody's business out in the street
No, absolutely.
that
Appreciate
didn't
it.
ask to have their business out in the street.
I wanted to. Well, hold on. Let's talk about this for you real quick.
Felipe, get some help.
Oh.
All right.
Well, good runs for both of them.
Really good starts. And we welcome back Chris Roto Schlimmer to the broadcast.
Whew, that was tough, guys.
It was tough holding. It was like holding his breath.
You guys brought it up, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I can't say a word.
It's
I can't
wild.
say a
It's
word.
wild
I
that
can't say a word.
We've gotten to that point.
Yeah, no, it's been brutal. Like,
That was
and
well
it's
done, though, by Carl.
Like the smallest runs or anything like that. Oh, hey, check out so-and-so over here. Nope.
So let's let Squad 5 members in the chat understand what we're doing here.
Sure. There could be some new viewers. And hello, John, by the way.
Actually, we do have a new viewer. I'm going to shout out to my boy Sean Shelton back home in St. Louis, in the Lou. I've known Sean a long time. He's like, hey, man, I didn't know anything about this tournament. Da-da-da-da. I go, what's the first annual? He goes, oh, it's probably never heard about it. He's in St. Louis. And anyway,
Now he knows.
he watched a little bit of the deal last night, and he's watching a little bit now. So that's who was just texting me just now. So,
we
yeah, here we are in
appreciate you.
Arizona, and that's back in Missouri.
Well, I appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
So, just to let the viewers know, the reason Roto Schlem was quiet for the last, call it 5 minutes.
Not even. Well, I guess it was
About
maybe.
5 minutes.
Okay.
So the reason is, just so everyone understands and put it in context, is through the last 4 squads, whenever a string...
And a sweeper.
And a sweeper. Wait, maybe even an action match. Who knows?
No.
There was no
I mean,
strings in the action. There wasn't many strings in the
only,
action.
only Greg, and he kept striking, but yeah. So squads and the sweeper is what I account for.
Sure. So every time we would mention a string of strikes, would you call it maybe 4 or better, 5 or better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We somehow,
Sometimes even just a turkey. You're like, oh, there's a turkey. Hey, look at that.
and as soon as we mention
Doink.
it, Roto Schlem would make a comment about,
Hey.
not in a bad way, just like,
No.
I'm just recognizing the
Observing
string.
that,
Observing
hey,
the
there's a string happening. This is what's going on. Yeah.
That streak would end. So I've renamed Roto Schlem as Black Cloud of Strings. He's the black cloud of any type of string. So now he was
And
trying to stay
obviously,
quiet.
a string is doing. They told me this earlier, not meaning string pins, because we have free fall here, or traditional pins. Strings being a string of strikes, collection of a turkey, a ham bone, what's a 5-bagger? I guess is there a name for that? I mean,
Yeah, I
obviously,
think you have to call him and ask.
a double turkey is
Yahtzee.
6.
Yahtzee.
Oh, that's it. Yahtzee, and then
6-pack?
well, or double turkey.
Double turkey.
I don't know, double turkey on rye. I don't know, something. We'll figure it out.
quick comment to Captain Dax, really quick, in the chat. Being that you had a great turnout, are you planning to hold another tourney same time next year? We are halfway through this event, and we have another 4 squads to go and a finals. That's a tough question.
You're saying we got to get there first.
Yeah, we got to finish this one first, let the dust settle, and see where we're at. But
Get the comment cards back.
exactly. Yeah, we'll collect all the comment cards and we'll review them. And
He's going to be sending out surveys to those of you logging in and watching. You know, just like when you purchase something online or you book something online, Priceline, you know, tell us about your experience.
Right.
Yeah, so we're going to have to collect all the information
you'll get a
from all the
questionnaire.
bowlers and all the viewers and see how this is going to work moving forward.
If I was to decide today, I would say that
But you don't
there's
have to.
very good possibility. But we don't know.
High probability. I mean,
Yes.
because there is a cool title belt over here in the glass case that has plates on the side. Does it say first annual?
It does. It says
Yeah,
inaugural.
First annual. Inaugural.
Yes, sir.
You know, then next year's plates could say round 2
Or
or
second annual.
next rendition. Yeah.
Do you see GT? Next year, can we bowl on an old version of Cheetah?
Hashtag not possible.
That's quoted from Schlemm right there.
Due to when we can spin it. Sorry, GT. We can spin it to. We do not have proprietary rights to the PBA lane patterns. We do not have access to their archives with the 72 variations of Cheetah. We do not know which one you're referencing.
That was probably the
Because, by the way,
Pattern E.
let's just say if we go back to the original Cheetah,
Pattern E.
you know, the one that Robert Smith couldn't get beat on. I don't know that you want to open that can of worms. Because Max Bob, it
ran
was
him
one of
over.
those deals. He went like 5 shows in a row on that original Cheetah, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to start calling this a Robert Smith pattern." I'm like, it's actually the Cheetah pattern. You probably don't want to call it after a bowler at that point in time. And now all the patterns are kind of named after bowlers. So
that disclaimer was probably the best small print
yes,
a verbal I've ever heard of.
Super small print.
Yeah. Thank you for protecting my tournament.
Yep. We do not have the private order. You know, how does it go? All broadcasts and reproductions of this content
Right.
is not authorized by the court of law or something.
Well, Emil should know that part.
Yes. Whatever entity it is.
Yes.
That's where you insert that part. So
All
not
publications
authorized
brought
by
to you by.
insert entity without the express written consent of
Yes, there we go.
insert
That's what I
entity.
was looking for.
Look at that.
Express written consent.
Professionals in the booth.
Well, the only professional right now is on lane 10 because we might have the highest game of the tournament.
Yes. Look at
Bang.
this. This is going to be the high game of the tournament.
Coming in hot.
Right in front of us on lane number 10.
Matt's about to get a little info.
Yep, Matt's going to kind of copy and see what's going on here.
So
He's like,
now I can actually talk because I can't cloud whatever is. You said that, and I'm like, I am not going to open my mouth and
Yeah, I want you
ruin
to
this
top it.
I was
possibility.
like,
But
can
yes,
you cloud 79?
this is now the new high score of the event.
I would like to know from your perspective
Yep.
why we're seeing what we're seeing at this point.
Wow.
Do I have to really divulge the information? Because I feel like I'm going to share the secret.
Okay, don't share the secret.
Remember earlier the secret sauce?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We just witnessed it.
Yep.
Was I here for the secret
Yeah.
sauce?
You were not.
Nope. Nope.
Text me.
But yeah.
Text
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? So I'll let you explain it if you want.
You're right.
That's all yours.
Wow.
You
Yeah,
think about you
there
saw
it is. There
you
it
saw
is
that
right
plan of
there.
attack. So
No, we just gonna let folks watch.
what's that?
We're gonna let folks watch.
Okay. You don't want to share that? We'll divulge it later.
Yeah, I mean we could share it. I think we
That's
can.
that's up to you.
It's one of those man. Well, when you put it in that term, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. That was it. Well, we're going to give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely.
He repeated shots. No matter what you're thinking, he made that
Well,
work.
100%.
Absolutely. Not arguing that one bit.
Yes,
Right.
definitely. Definitely. It has
However,
nothing to do
there's
with-
another caveat. There's another piece of that puzzle.
But Eileen Linares was the first person this really to kind of, I won't say figure it out, because, someone
But she
else could have.
scored well.
But, and the way she described it was she was utilizing essentially what was affecting others to her advantage
Okay.
in the right
And so
part,
actually
on the
we-
right side of the lane.
We've got to throw props to her dad.
And her dad
for
saw it, too.
suggesting it. So, and
This
obviously
is when I passed off the microphone to
Yes.
her
Yeah,
to
we
bring her
talked
in
to
the
her.
booth.
Yes.
Yeah, so we spun it forward, and obviously it gets back to Robert. It was a little bit different zone, but Kyle King was another one actually utilizing the same thing, but wasn't as effective. So exactly what we said. We're like, hey, what were you thinking? What were you seeing? And she's like, well, she goes, I kept seeing this thing of what people are trying to. She goes, I was trying to feed it. She goes, my dad suggested jumping out, and with the way I throw it, try this ball, do this. So what people saw as hang, she used as hold.
Ah,
My man of
okay.
9 and 10 just used that zone as holds.
Hold.
And you saw the ball he was using obviously had some surface on it, and I believe it was urethane. But it's the deal of he was far enough right with the right to the left a little bit, using it as holes. And she said as she went across the house, it was one of those deals. She got to a big ball. She had to actually ball down, then ball back up. Don't let everybody else dictate,
Right.
what's going on,
Wow.
Yep.
Well, so maybe it's not so much pair to pair. Oh, maybe they're obviously playing.
It is pair to pair. Yeah, I mean, like you said,
But-
she was able to just go up and down her arsenal, but she was in that zone that worked for her. And again, we've talked about it through each of the squads so far. Those that maybe should jump farther left and you can create angle and use a pattern to create the shape and get it to tumble the right way. Or in the fact of, like I said, Robert wasn't as far right, but still up the lane, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a matter of manufacturing and repeating shots, really, is what it comes back to. So.
Do we have a glitch?
Yeah, there was.
Hmm.
That's I always pay attention to patterns. So the only ones I've seen have been at night.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we didn't have any yesterday or today, so it's only been in the evening. So it could be any number of things,
Well,
like UFO. It could be UFOs.
could be the 279. Just I was so unsure that actually happened. it had to restart.
Mm-hmm.
Same link though.
Oh yeah, everything's good.
Got it.
Nothing changed from that bench. That is I can't that part and that piece of information, and if the glitch, if you missed it, the moral of the story was Eileen Linares utilized what many folks or most of the folks saw as hang as hold for her, and we saw Felipe essentially utilize that same strategy on the way to 279.
And he started with the strike this game too, in case you're keeping score at home over there to his next pair.
And now he's the bottom right of your screen as we begin game two here. But that type of info makes the game so interesting.
It does, and like I said, it's one of those things that there's no definitive like, hey, you're supposed to play out here, you're supposed to do this, this is going to work. It's you have to be able to repeat it. You have to. Exactly what she said. She's like, well, I just saw it and I took advantage of it. That's what you're supposed to do. And now watching a few of the other bowlers, what's funny is now that I started glancing around, there's plenty more folks playing outside that weren't doing, that haven't either done that in previous squads or maybe they just don't know any better, and that's where they're starting at. You know, ones that obviously we haven't seen up until now. So.
I was talking to, was he talking to Aaron? I think I was talking to Aaron and maybe one other person, just about how Squad 4, because of a scoring pace, would allow me now to kind of look at the next couple of squads with a fresh set of eyes, if you will.
Yep.
And say, okay, well, we know what's capable, you know, what's possible, and now we can look for maybe different things to help us get to these higher scores, as opposed to moving from, you know, we saw high scores in game 1 for like the first 3 squads, and then, you know, once players started to move, it got tricky and iffy, and, you know, there wasn't a lot of good things really happening across the board. But, man, coming out the gates, 279, Felipe. And then Mike Hardesty had the front 6 on this pair as well. He was in a similar zone. Slightly different angle, but similar zone. And he had his opportunity too, but still shoots 230 that game. And we had a 199 game as well.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I think that's the deal of, because you look at what Irene did earlier, and the fact of she doesn't have a Mongo mega ref rate. No. And she's like, well, I balled up and I balled down, I balled back up and I balled back down. Like, well, it makes sense as you're traveling across pairs. And Felipe actually just left a 610 and chopped it. So I actually took picked a 10 off the 6. But again, as we've known and we've seen so far, it's one of those deals as you cross this house, it may take you a couple shots to figure out, do I need to ball up, ball down if I'm in that zone? Because it's not necessarily you go to the next pair and you're like, oh, I need to change zones. Like, it's not, like, you don't have to immediately jump to that. And she even said that too when we'd interviewed her earlier. It was the deal of, she goes, oh, I had the right deal. She goes, I could move a couple boards with my feet and eyes. She goes, I had this little zone I was playing in. So obviously there's something there.
Or she got
if you throw it that way.
Great.
Yeah, because she was plus, what'd she get to? She had 169 last game, but she was plus
71 overall. 71
plus, she would have 100 over if she was even.
Yeah. So. But again, it's finding that spot, and like we've talked about the whole way through, what gives you the easiest path to the 1-3, and if you throw a bad shot, can your bad shot cross over? You know, and the other part of it is if your bad shot is light, let your bad shot be a 2-pin, if you will, because we've seen some people kind of line up where they left multiple 2-pins in a game. Man, a 9 count's actually a pretty good score, because it's too easy to leak it to that spot or cut one short and it checks on you, and it's 4, 5, 6.
Right.
And then you don't fill a frame. You know, you go 5, 5, 4, 3, 4, 3, 3. We've seen the whole gamut so far.
So before we move on, I just want to give a quick shout out to WeSpeakWifi again.
Yeah.
So that little glitch, the owner, Kevin McMillan, is actually looking into it to see what might be causing those 2 little glitches that we've had over the last couple of nights.
It's been like at nighttime, and
Just,
you know, and we had that. Or what did you say? Oh, it was a couple weeks ago in Iowa. You said the year before, like you felt it, even though you were hardwired in, it was something with the in the snack bar or something, and Cadillac, right?
Yeah, and that one.
So it gets to be these weird things like at
pretty
random.
And that was that was a little different. Like,
yeah, okay.
It's just that one's isolated to that particular area of that bowling
area
center.
of the center. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
But obviously he's done this way more than I have. But obviously I could see where there's glitches of, hey, by the way, there's an influx at this certain time.
Sometimes
because I got the same
random
thing
like
at
that.
home, like my Wi-Fi. Like, I could be watching college football all day on Saturday, and it's like Saturday evening in that certain window. It's like
Everyone's
all of a
lights
sudden
on.
my TV's, my TV's kind of like freeze. I'm like, really? Wait until now to do this? Like right in the middle of the good game?
Well, thank you to what was his name again?
Kevin.
Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to Kevin, and that's the
WeSpeakWifi.
kind of great sponsors that Carl has brought on here to. On a Friday night, answer your text, and he's going to take a look.
He's on it. So he's saying that he doesn't see anything right, but he's going to keep investigating and hopefully comes up with something for us.
Very cool. WeSpeakWifi.com.
Yes, sir.
That right there, folks, is what we call customer service.
He's on top of it.
He's not going to find anything because everything's great.
There you go.
Plain and simple. The magic of live streaming is just
Because I personally like my answer better.
things happen.
UFOs, but, hey, that's just me.
It's a possibility.
Oh, no, wait a second. Those only happen in Vegas. That's when you see the big green people walking in the bright circular lights.
Yeah, Gabe Alvarez.
Oh, hey now. We got a little action going here on 7 and 8.
Yeah, that is Mr. Erickson, I believe.
Of the event, yeah.
Theo is entering scores, and he just came across Felipe's 279 game and said that might be a high game. Absolutely.
Hashtag, yes, sir, it is. And Felipe just converted the super wash out there.
So 7 and 8, Brad Erickson and Matt. Is that Herbert? Trying to get a look of the last name on the jersey. But they've got double, 9 spare, double, spare 4-bagger between the two of them. You get bottom right of your screen, Mr. Craig, and that's a great shot from the southpaw. Hello to Ashley Hedges checking in. John, I did see your question earlier. There is a little bit of handicap involved in the tournament. We kind of, Carl specifically, talked about it extensively a little bit earlier. But this event, and Carl, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to try to summarize it or paraphrase. But I believe you called it a hybrid. A little bit of a hybrid tournament.
So in a nutshell, we have only 3 sets of pins. It's either going to be 0, 5, or 7. And it's all based on either gender, age, or average. There's no more or no less. So you're getting 0, 5, or 7. We're catering to probably the 2-0s, the 190s, 2-0s, or higher, to try to bridge that gap from the bowlers that are on the cusp of, being right there to compete and getting their feet wet and really maybe giving it a run. A 190 average bowler could win this tournament. There's possibly. So that's definitely, there. And that's kind of where I wanted that little bit of opportunity to where the guys that are like, I don't know if I want to bowl a regional, but I also want to bowl on something of a more challenging pattern with competition.
Correct.
I think this might be the opportunity.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
Appreciate you, Carl. So that's how that went down there, John. Straight from the creator himself. David Tolson, appreciate you as always. That's right. Hit that like button and subscribe if you have not. Mr. Tolson, good to, I think I saw you earlier say that maybe you had a commitment or two this weekend, so you're unable to attend.
So as we watch the action unfold here in front of us, yeah, we've got some solid games. Like I said, 7 and 8 is pretty solid right now. Actually, even right here in front of us in lane 9. Again, you make the transition and go pair to pair. Our guy, we've just collected the 270 game. A little bit tougher go of it here on 5 and 6 with only 1 strike through 5 frames. We're going to figure it out. Over here to the right of us. Yeah, we got some games with double, spare, double. My guys got strike, 2 spares, 4-bagger. Pretty solid. So again, I think it's one of those things as we get different bowlers in and they've watched some either online or they've talked to others and maybe created a little bit different strategy coming in to bowl on this pattern. Hello, everyone. We're back from the TV timeout. Did you miss us? And I'll tell you what, still not looking too bad here on 7 and 8. Just going to throw it out there. Going to try not to cloud it. Try. Keyword, try not to cloud it.
They're in good shape.
Is someone on a string?
What's up?
You said
No.
black cloud. I automatically looking
I'm
for a
just
string somewhere.
trying to not cloud it the rest of the way because obviously my man just had a decent game going, Greek churched. It looks like we got Matt. Was it? Was it Abear?
I believe it's Herbert.
Herbert Abear. Again, the pronunciation thing, how it's spelled, how it's actually spoken.
I'm pretty sure it's Herbert. Well, I just wanted to, from the spelling, it looks like
Okay.
Herbert.
Yeah, perfect. So anyway, he's got a solid game going here on 7 and 8.
Entering the right of your screen there. So
Yep.
he just crossed over on that last
Cloud.
game.
Thanks, Schlem. Appreciate you. All right. And the cloud continues.
Brian Halen had something popping off too. Over on 13 and 14. Looks like he's crossing with one
Yes.
Marcus Betts. Anyone know who that is?
We'll go with that.
We'll go with Marcus Betts.
Yeah.
He should be crossing here,
He is.
game 3.
He will be in this area.
And so I'm going to throw another one. Let's see. 17, 18, 19, and 20. Decent game working the top of 19 and 20. Again, I can't see quite that far, but all I can see is it's easy to spot spares and strikes from a distance, fill in frames, and that actually helps add the score up quicker.
Kyler Adams throws it really well. Not sure if he's local or not, but I like his game here on 9 and 10.
All right.
From Santan Valley, Arizona. Where's that located?
It is the south. So when you were over at my house the other night, it's literally just another 10 minutes southeast.
Okay.
Okay.
So just on the border of Mesa and Queen Creek, that area.
Game 1 scores are updated. Again, Felipe Espriu, who we saw shoot 279. That is the high game of the tournament, certainly the high game of this squad. But Chris Trail shot 232 along with Joseph Gage. We talked about Mike Hardison's 231 because we saw it. Matt Zweig shot 216. Michael Fitzgerald also bowling this squad, another great player from Metro Phoenix. He shot 215 along with Gabriel Alvarez. David Leverage, 203, and Cortez Shank also on the squad. He began the evening with 201.
And just to throw a little tidbit at you, Felipe, who started with 270, is currently pacing 170 this game. He's got started with a strike open, but he's got all spares the rest of the way through 8. So he's going to need to catch a hit. Eddie Van Daniker catching a hit right there to catch a double here late in game 2. Eddie's got 236 left off the sheet. So, yeah, got some good stuff happening right here in front of us.
And just next door, we've got an opportunity at 236 with the first one already in the books. I do not have a name for
Eddie Van Daniker.
Oh, that's it, my man.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I said. Eddie V.
I missed that. My apologies.
No, all good.
I was scrolling scores.
Bolt's a little bit on tour. I've known Eddie for a while now. Yeah, he was not happy with that shot. He's off his stand. He's like, oh, Eddie. So he's going to collect a 2-team game. And Aaron is going to try and convert the 157 here on lane 9.
Not sure who I was talking to earlier about that, but they said they had seen an unusual amount of 157s left at this tournament so far.
Yep. And Felipe converts another spare there in the 9th. So he's got 137 spare up in the 9th. So again, pacing 170. He's going to hope to maybe catch a double if he can. But again, come out of the gate with 279 is super strong to make it easier. Oh, look at that! Converts the 157.
How about that?
As I say in the big leagues, don't leave anything you can't pick.
Matt Herbert, one strike away from popping in the 220s. And there that is.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm like, I didn't want to look up. I'm like, I was looking there. I didn't want to say it.
We don't got to get to that point.
I'll tell you what, dude, the cloud is real, bro. Come on now. You know it. You've been giving me that look all day.
Hey, at some point, we just call bowling.
Okay, all right. I'll go with that. I appreciate that.
.25 certainly won't be too bad. Quick score change here on 9 and 10. It started really well, too, on that pair. Again, for Brad Erickson, he does finish with 201. A good look here at Mr. Herbert finishing things up right of your screen.
All right, 224.
Spare made for Mr. Adams is Jason Cragen.
Nope.
Jason Cragen, our southpaw, with a fill shot left.
Speaking of Jason, he bowled for me at ASU.
Yeah,
The 1 year
yeah.
I coached.
All right.
How about that?
Showing your age, by the way.
I can't hide it. You don't let me.
195 for Jason Cragen. Carl, if you wouldn't mind to, it sounds like we'll have a special guest for a few minutes next game. So if you wouldn't mind to kind of tease who that could be and what that conversation might be about.
Phil Hanna. So
Yeah. Is he?
I
Where's he
forget
go?
what squad we were discussing it.
He's coming.
But I had mentioned working with other tournament clubs in the area and holding winning spots, and he's one of them. And I wanted to at least bring him on, kind of explain how that partnership came out and
Absolutely.
why it was a major appreciation for what he did to help, grow this tournament. He has something established already, and he was able to kind of see the vision of what I had, and he was willing to, let me kind of play in the sandbox a little bit.
Nice.
And I just want to give him his flowers per se.
Absolutely.
All right. Phil Hanna will
So we'll
join
get
us here in a little bit.
Oh, he was just down.
He's coming.
Okay. I wrote the cloud is going to bounce out for a bit.
Just like 10, 15 minutes, brother.
Or maybe some of these folks might pay me to stay away.
Oh, stop.
We're like, hey,
Just
you know how many people come up to me like, hey, can you not mention my name on the live stream? Because I don't want to shoot 140. Like, that's happened multiple times already, bro. So that's a thing. It's turned into a thing. Pretty good pitch right there.
He throws it really well.
Yes, sir.
And let's say that one more time. But, man, he's got some talent. We'll keep an eye on him throughout this squad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 247 on 13 and 14. I believe that was Brian Halen.
Yes, sir.
He was going to join us also on 9 and 10. This is Aaron's second squad. He bowled yesterday and got to -5. He's got a little work to do here.
Mm.
Fill shot for Kyler. That looked urethane-ish.
Mm-hmm.
He'll take it for 200.
All right, Schlum's out.
All right, game 3. And we've already begun on 5 through 8, so let's go there as we get you started. All right, folks, welcome back. Game 3. And as teased wonderfully by Carl Ong, we do welcome in Mr. Phil Hanna into the Bowlstream TV booth. First, from what I heard from Carl just now, you do a lot of great stuff in this area for the sport. So I'm just going to thank you on behalf of all bowlers around the country and around the world. Briefly, though, I would like to know a little bit about your background and why you started what you started. And I'll certainly let Carl kind of take over and bring in for the reason that he did. But I'm curious on why you're doing what you wanted to do.
Cool. I appreciate the introduction, and thank you for allowing me to be on the platform. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan, and so my love for bowling came from being in that environment. So I've just gained so much from bowling, friends, family, just experience. I met my wonderful wife that's bowling right now on lane 8 bowling. And so I personally feel like I owe bowling, and my goal is to give back as much as I can. And so the way that I choose to do that is by hosting events and supporting events that are in my area. I had no choice but to support the Agent Ong Open. You know, this is good for bowling, and it's absolutely amazing for bowling in Arizona. An event like this just makes things better for everyone that loves bowling in this state. So I appreciate Carl for allowing me to be a part of this amazing event, and I'm glad I was able to do something to help make it happen or help make it bigger, you know, just give people a chance to be a part of it.
And you did that how? And I feel like this is where Carl will then tell me how you guys kind of partnered up in that sense.
So bowling in Arizona is quite different from what I'm used to. We have several different people running events, right? We have the Strike Force tournament, which they do weekly tournaments, and it's geared towards helping the lower average bowlers kind of get acclimated with sport shots, right? So we have an avenue there for the handicap bowlers. We have Theo basically setting the tone for scratch bowling events, right, with the CBE events. He started something great with the Cactus Open. We also have Christy Thompson. She does her events. We have several independent houses that run monthly tournaments. And so what I wanted to do was step into a lane that wasn't being used. Like Carl just mentioned, we have Reggie Elliott that runs the Alley Cat action tournaments. All great things. Everyone's doing something different. We all kind of work together so that we're not, you know, double booking or
keeping the communication lines
keeping the lines of communication open. And so to answer your question, what I did to help support the Agent Ong Open was I was running a weekly King of the Hill type sweeper at Bowlero Kyrene. And once the Agent Ong Open was announced, we did winner spots.
Wow. How many?
I think we did like 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Nice.
Yeah. And so because Carl is so invested in making this event specifically about the bowlers, they need to re-rack on lane 5. They're missing an 8-pin. Sorry.
No, you're right. Can see it from here.
Look at that eye, Phil.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's actually correct.
I can't unsee it. Good shot, Kyler. You got to do it again, though.
That's amazing eyesight you have there, missing an 8-pin from about 8 lanes away.
Yeah.
Phil Hanna out here seeing it from 8 lanes away.
I was like, do you see that?
Kyler Adams just nailed one, but you got to do it again, buddy.
He did. He did.
But yeah, so we ran a couple winner spots, and you know, obviously we want to cover the entry fee to make the winning spots worth it and to make them work. We didn't always get to that number, but if you participated in the winning spot, Carl wanted to make sure that the bowler still got value. And so if we were short of that number, you can use that. If you win a winning spot, you can use that as a credit towards your entry. So
no money lost.
No money lost. And so what I've experienced about the marketing and the presentation about the Agent Ong Open, participating in the sweeper last night, I bowled very well. If you guys want to confirm that on tournamentbowl.com, you can.
I love it.
This is a great event, and I'm just grateful that I was able to be a part of it. You know, we're in a great center. JJ Newell and his staff at Bowlero Kyrene they've done an amazing job, as our host.
Well, thank you for the kind words. You know, like I said, I know you. I don't know if you heard much of the stream in the previous squads, but I did individually want to thank as many of the other tournament clubs here that allowed me to jump on what you guys have already established. You know, as me being the new kid on the block and not trying to run a weekly, monthly tournament club, just an annual event. You know, I reached out to all of you individually, and you all saw my vision, and you all allowed me to collaborate with you guys, is the best way to put it. I don't want to use the word piggyback, but you almost let me. You know, so I definitely want to, take a moment and to thank you and Reggie and Strike Force and everybody else. If I'm missing anyone, I apologize up front. But you guys all have your established base, and CBE, obviously.
Who, Theo?
Yes, the man in front of us, Theo. So you all have played a part of making this, and I use the word nuggets because collectively, every one of you played a role in getting us here. And if this is successful, it's because of all of us, including Emil and Chris Schlemmer and all the guys that helped put this thing, bullshit. And I don't always just say this over and over, and I know it sounds like a broken record, but I give credit where credit is due. I don't expect anything for nothing. So giving you an opportunity to kind of come up here and just for us to show appreciation to you is why I wanted you to come on for a little bit and, give you credit where credit is due. So it's thoroughly appreciated. And hopefully, this tournament will grow. And Arizona Bowling collectively, we don't have to step on each other's toes. We can all talk about it. We can all figure out how to, schedule things so where we're not really trying to compete for the same bowlers. And at the same time, we might cater to the different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different places, and different demographics as well, for sure. But maybe the different levels of bowler is probably the best way to put it. Like you put it great where, Strike Force is more of the introduction for handicap bowlers to the sport, competition type sport pattern. Theo is more of the more of the scratch side, more established bowlers. And maybe my event is where I just kind of set everyone in the middle. I kind of take the higher echelon bowlers and then bring in the up and coming bowlers, and here we are today, and this might be the event where we bring it all together.
Yeah.
But
totally
like I said,
agree.
I will name drop every tournament club in this valley because you all helped. So
Yeah, just to piggyback off what you said earlier, being the new kid on the block as far as running tournaments in the Valley, you put the spotlight on Arizona, you know, so regardless of how this works out with entries and things like that, you made the country look at us now.
Well,
and so
that's a lot.
That
Thank
makes
you.
that makes everything that we're doing now, you know, it just adds value.
Well, I mean, I can't speak obviously to that, just because I'm not here on a regular basis. But I will say, based on what you just said, and having the country look at Arizona, one of the best players in Major League Baseball is bowling this tournament right now, in front of us. So that's about as good of a spotlight as you can get, right there. Mookie Betts is bowling. I don't know, folks. By the way, you know, we've been talking about local partnerships and why they're important. And some of you may be watching at home and going, man, that guy looks like Mookie Betts. But no, there's no way that's Mookie Betts. That's Mookie Betts bowling. He's on the left side of your screen. He bowled a sweeper last night, obviously bowling here. And who knows, he may bowl a squat tomorrow, depending on what happens. So, again, through both of the efforts, Phil, Carl, Theo, and everyone in between, players like Mookie come bowl this tournament. Give him some carry. Fun fact for you, Phil. So I saw your wife down there. Yes, she started down on the high end, right? And I go, man, she looks familiar. And so does the jersey. It was really just the jersey first. And I went, I think my wife bowled in her women's championship.
She did.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I think that's her. Were you there?
No.
Okay.
But, you know, Erica organizes that group.
Right.
And she puts it all together. She orders the jerseys. And so, yeah.
Surprise. So the logo on my wife's jersey. She sent it in. She wore Bowlstring TV on her jersey. So I was like, yeah, that's definitely her. 100% that's her.
When she saw you, she was like, we need Bowlstream on all of our jerseys now.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, we got to get that on there.
Happy to support.
How do I get an Agent Ong logo on that jersey? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because this is not a one-time event. Should be looking to do this again next year, huh?
I want to.
I spoke too fast.
I want to, but this got brought up earlier.
We already got that question, and we touched on it a little bit, and basically said we're like halfway through the event. Let's finish it.
Yep.
Get the comment cards back, get the feedback in, and then, you know, he'll make a decision, obviously. Good shot there for Mookie.
Yeah, this was just good. Like, from the announcement of it, the marketing of the event, the way it's been ran. I've been here for 2 days watching the tournament. Like, this is a good staple to grade yourself off of when you're looking to run an event like this.
So I'm curious, when did you move out here?
So we moved out here about 9 years ago.
Okay. Just on a whim, job offer, or things that you don't have to talk about?
I'm okay with talking about it. So we were looking to start our life together. And so we decided on Arizona.
Nice. She's from Detroit too?
Yep.
Okay. You know, Detroit bowling, yeah. I'm from Chicago, so you know that those bowling.
Same kind of environment.
Right.
You know. And so I actually had the opportunity to, before I moved here, I lived in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
I don't know if you see it, but shout out to Matt Tomsu.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm grateful that I've been able to experience the culture of bowling in different areas around the country. And though some things are different, you know, the love for the game and the love that we have for each other in the bowling community,
Right.
you just can't beat that. And so I left there and came here, and, you know, I feel like I was received with open arms.
And you're coming up on a decade here.
Coming up on a decade, and I have been fortunate enough to spend about the last 5 years working for Virtue Bone Supply. Shout out to my squad. Craig Spencer, he's the general. You know, I've been able to learn a ton about the game of bowling, the business behind bowling, what makes this machine run. Never thought I would, you know, dive that deep into what bowling is,
right.
but I'm grateful to have that opportunity. I don't get to sit here and be a part of this without that opportunity to, you know, work for Virtue. Right, so that's been my stepping stone into basically everything I've been able to experience or be a part of.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit.
I appreciate you, Carl.
I don't know if you can say it's the sole purpose and reason why you're here today. I mean, don't get me wrong. Virtue's done a lot in this state, for sure. They're a big staple in Arizona, for sure. But definitely don't sell yourself short saying that's the reason. It might be a piece of the reason, but not the reason. I just want to make sure you understand that from my perspective.
I appreciate that.
Nice shot there from Luke. Let's take a quick peek over at Cortez, who was could have maxed at 280. That was his 9th frame shot as he leaves a 7-pin.
I'm going to get Theo in here next. I'm going to jump out of here game 4 after he gets his scores. And then maybe bring back Chris Schlemmer as well. And let Theo talk about how he's thinking this tournament as my official tournament director for the tournament. We haven't heard from him yet, so.
7-pin action here for Brian Halen. Phil, before we let you go, and if you don't mind sharing, what are you looking to do in the future as you continue on in this sport? Is there a grand vision, if you will, on some things that you'd like to accomplish? And you don't have to share them just because, you know, people are greedy and they, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a fan of what's yours is yours.
Yeah,
What's meant for you is meant for you.
That's a great question, and I'm glad that you asked. But the next thing that I'm going to be doing is going to be, it's the most important thing on my plate right now when it comes to bowling and bowling events. Like I said earlier, I've been able to be a part of bowling in different states and different communities, and there's just far too much scholarship money that is going unused. And so what I would like to do is, in the Phoenix area, is create a template for, right, you have student athletes in every other sport, but that's not really focused on in bowling. And I feel like most of the parents that have their children participating in bowling are not aware of the vast amount of scholarship money that's available. And so my efforts are going to be geared towards letting the parents know. Haven't quite figured out the system on how I'm going to do that, but that is my main focus right now.
We can figure something out.
Ooh,
oh, yes, we will.
Yeah, that's a tough lead there, Luke. 189.
On a note, this tournament's Smart certified.
Yes,
we
it
are
is.
youth eligible. So if there's any youth bowlers that are out there right now that are watching this and happens to be in the Phoenix area or can get here in the next, I don't know, 12, 14 hours to start, our Saturday squads.
Nice spare.
I'd love to have you guys out. I think this is a great platform for potentially getting your feet wet as a youth bowler and what maybe some good competition would be looking like for you down the road and to bowl on a fairly challenging pattern.
Man,
And a chance to win $10,000 in scholarship funds,
good opportunity.
brackets included.
And you never know who you may meet here.
Like Mookie Betts,
Like Mookie Betts.
who just made the 189.
He did.
So about that
And
189,
finishes with a cover.
I left that a couple times last night, and I just did not get the empathy that you just gave Mookie. And I feel like
I
it's
don't
only
think I
because
saw
you
you.
saw it. You didn't see it.
I didn't see you leave a 189 because everyone deserves some empathy if you leave a 189.
I just feel like after the second time I left it, I should have got a hug or something.
That's funny. Well,
I appreciate you.
try to go find Mr. Slimmer.
Okay.
And then Theo will be joining you as well. But thank you again, Phil, for jumping on and, again, being a part of making this tournament at what hopes to be a success at the end of it all.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the invite and allow me to be a part of such a great event. I don't take it lightly, and I wish you the most success possible, not just on this event, but in the future. And I am always down to do anything I can to help make it happen.
Appreciate it.
And I will leave you, Phil, with if you need any kind of assistance or need someone to toss an idea off of regarding your next project with youth and letting parents know about what's available, give me a shout.
Will do, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Phil Hanna, Carl Ong. We'll have Roto Schlim and Theo Duthay back in the booth next here on Bowlstream TV. Just called a replay of Mookie's 189 pickup. All right, so Rolo Slim will join us again, and then we'll hear from Theo Duthay, our tournament director. As we begin bowling again on 9 and 10, Cortez Shank. Brian Hernandez and Garrett Strail. Right here beginning on 9 and 10. Michael Fitzgerald has joined us here on 11 and 12 along with Matt Jones, last night's sweeper winner. And Matt with the purple hammer. Good shot there from Mr. Jones, Metro Phoenix USPC Hall of Famer. And Erica Hanna, wife of one Phil, who we just spoke to.
Hola.
Roto Schlim back in the building.
Sorry, I was watching the D-backs. They're now in the top of the ninth. The D-backs took the lead. They've been trailing the entire game. Took the lead in the bottom of the eighth.
Oh.
And here is Schlim. The cloud has arrived. Who do we need to cloud now? No, I'm just kidding. That's bad to think that way.
Like you're leaning into this way too much.
Dude, you've been pressing on me for like a day and a half now.
Yeah, but now, I mean, you know.
Yeah, we're past it. I get it.
Unless it's like the front nine, then maybe.
Okay, fair enough. So, score-wise, obviously, I bailed out for a game or so there. What do we got? Anything good shaking?
Yeah, so game 2 is updated in regards to standings. Obviously, we just completed game 3. Didn't get a chance to really go over them. But Felipe still the leader of this squad at plus 61. John, I did see your question, and I'll try to get you an answer on that in a moment. Last squad, we got kind of unofficial cut numbers at the moment at that time.
Okay.
In games 4 and 5. So Theo is supposed to join us.
All
and
right.
So maybe he will have kind of that little tidbit to see where we are at this point.
Okay. Cool.
But Cortez at plus 30, Joseph Gage at plus 26, Eddie Van Daneker at plus 22, Brian Halen at plus 21, Michael Hardesty at plus 20, Matt Zwide plus 7, Kyler Adams plus 5. So we got 8 players who are plus. We had 10 in the previous squad, which was squad 4. And I think at the end of the day, or I should say at the end of squad 4, that number was around plus 9, if I recall correctly.
Yes, sir.
As
I
far as
do recall that about the same as well. Yep.
projected cut numbers. So if I had to give it a guess with 8 more players plus so far, or 7, I know 8, excuse me, plus teams maybe at this point. No one is shooting anything too major aside from Felipe at this point in time. But
What do we have that third game?
Cortez
We don't have those yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Right. Okay.
But I saw Theo's making the walk, so we will have them shortly.
Okay. Perfect.
And it looks like actually 13 and 14 just finished game 3, as well as 17 and 18.
Yep. Okay.
I don't know if you got a chance to, or how much you got a chance to see Mookie during Game 3.
I did not.
Okay.
I will tell you, I was a couple of other conversations, and then I got pulled in for baseball, and there was a lot of yelling and screaming in the bar area. I don't know if you heard that.
I did not.
Because there's about 5 or 6 folks in there just watching the game. So there's a little bit of excitement going on with the Snakes biting, like I said, the bottom of the 8th to take the lead for the first time all game. So unfortunately, I did not see Game 3. My apologies.
Oh, it's okay.
All right, my guy's in. You turn him on.
Theo, my man.
How's it going, fellas?
How you doing?
What it is, yo? What's up?
Trying to stay awake.
So do we call you like Dizzle or T-Dizzle, or is it just Theo?
Whatever you want to call me.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't care.
Right on. I'm now the Cloud, so I mean it's.
I'm a tournament director, so I've been called many things.
Oh, well,
That's true.
Yeah, probably. And some things you don't even know about.
That's
You're
a
like,
fair point.
that guy. Let me tell you about that guy. All right. All right.
This is the one time I did not choose the pattern, so they can't call me names because of that.
Yeah, like, hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here to help. You know, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where we are too. Is just passing along the info and the tidbits of what we've seen or what we comprehend and understand, and we caught some bowler insight over the last day and a half, explaining what we're seeing and what's doing what. Truth be told, I mean, obviously it's fair. It's not like it's, again, like we talked about, it's not a super boneyard, if you will, in the fact of, it's going to take minus 72 to make the cut.
Correct.
But it's also not the Great Wall of China where it gets to, 6 games and you get average 240 and hope you get there. This is kind of that in between. Got to throw some shots, got to catch your breaks, got to fill frames.
Yep. And, I mean, it's really pair to pair, too.
Absolutely.
I was just talking to Felipe, who started with 279, and he's gone. What has he done now? I mean, not much. He's gone 180, 160.
Okay.
And
So you actually have an updated score sheet, right? Yeah. Okay.
do you want just squad or overall?
Well, I don't know. Emil's obviously been updating and doing stuff. Oh. No. Real question. T. Dizzle's got to chime in, but I don't know. You can check on Emil. He's got the updated scores here on the iPad. So, and it looks like we have a new squad leader.
Sounds like. All right.
And it's the guy that's got the front three down on 3 and 4.
Mr. Cortez Shank. He's never led a tournament before, I'm sure.
Oh, Cortez took the lead. Oh, I thought it was Eddie V. Okay.
No,
No, Eddie V's in second.
250.
Oh, Tez just popped out 250. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We see it, Tez.
Tez is actually the first ever CBE Player of the Year.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
201, 229, 259.
Bada boom. Realest guy in the room.
He just left a couple of 7 pins early. And this one, and then there's Eddie Van Daniker at plus 41. Again, game 3 is updated. Brian Halen plus 26. Felipe plus 22. Joseph Gage plus 5. Kyla Adams plus 4. Michael Hardesty plus 1. Theo, since you are here, if you have a little bit of a projected cut score at this point in time, that would be awesome. Just share a little bit. We had that question in the chat.
So do you want what I think it's going to be, or do you want the actual?
I would like both.
D, all the above.
All right, well, through 3 games, it would be, hold on, I clicked the wrong filter. Sorry. Through 3, it would be plus 5 as of right now. Where my projected originally was minus 20 to plus 20, and somebody told me I need to narrow that. So I said, okay, minus 10 to plus 5 is where I think.
Really? You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
And it's been hovering around there the whole time. So
True story.
Okay.
All right.
Well.
So, Emil, do you want to let him know what you were thinking?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was in the 70s.
oh my,
Yeah.
you were very optimistic.
Right?
I was.
It's like I said, I've become the cloud. A man's, rainbows and sunshine over here.
Absolutely. I'm always the one, the optimistic individual, yes.
It's got those positive thoughts going.
But,
Absolutely.
Again, it was mostly based on, all based on 2 things. One, kind of what Carl's original vision was, what he was looking for in the lane condition. And I said, all right, well, it's probably going to be at least 60. So if we just say it's 60, I would say, okay, well, then let me look at the caliber of players that's still looking to bowl. All right, I'll give it 10 more pins, perhaps. So that's where that came from.
No, that's cool. I mean, that's the deal, yo. And, we look at the big picture. Matt Zweig here, double spare strike. Looks like he's got urethane from out. Again, I missed the last game, but even Cortez here, urethane from out. I don't know, the Robert Smith influence from the last squad have something to do with that, you think?
I mean, I would think so. It was, going back to what we talked about earlier about information filtering, right?
Yep.
Hey.
Kind of paying attention to what's going on?
Yeah. Oh, Robert Smith led. Well, what did he do? Or for those who watched Robert Bull, I mean, and said, all right, I think I can do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to give it a shot. Brian Halen with the front 5 down on 5 and 6. It's Michael Fitzgerald. Well, Michael Fitzgerald doing what he always does. He's in a little bit, as many of the players, his fellow peers and competitors say, a little voodoo roll, as they often describe it as. I've never seen Michael Fitzgerald not strike since I've been introduced to him.
Gotcha.
Unforced error there for Tez. Theo, what's it like for you being like not on the other side, if you will, but you know this is not technically your event, right? But you have been asked to be the tournament director, so you still have that responsibility, but maybe not the encompassing, if you will. What's that like for you? A little change of pace.
A lot less stressful. Not having to, I mean, I help promote it obviously because it benefits me if we get more entries, but not being the one responsible to go out and seek sponsors and really push it and do all the advertising and everything else. It's a lot less stressful knowing that I just got to come in, do what I know that I'm good at doing, and I think I'm good at doing at least.
Have you been told otherwise?
And then, no.
Okay, good. Well,
I mean, other than when I pick, patterns. But no, I mean, it's been fun. It's long days, so.
It is, but fortunately, and like we talked about when we went to lunch today, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a break in between. It's not like
go.
him and I, obviously on this side of the business. His case being in the streaming aspect, but I can go back to my tour up days, like when the World Series started, and these days where everything is like, squad goes to the next squad, and you got about 32 minutes as they're oiling, and as soon as they get done oiling, it's like the next squad's going to go off. Well, next thing you know, it's like 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. as I go, hey, by the way, you got to be back down here at 6:30 for roll call, and get guys ready for the next shift, and that's like a week in a row. So. Again, we applaud you guys for, yourself, Carl, the whole team here with everything that's going on to make this flow, and it's pretty smooth sailing, I think. I mean, at least from our perspective on this side, I don't think there's been any major hiccups or any catastrophes,
no,
if you will.
I mean, my main goal is always, if there's issues going on, I want to keep them behind the scenes.
Yes, absolutely.
And not have anybody see it. I mean, I've had tournaments where at the end of the day, I'm like, God, what a nightmare that was. And bowlers, I'll tell them, I'm like, man, I had this issue and this, and they're like, we didn't have a clue.
We didn't even know that was going on.
So,
right. Again, that's one of those things that, as we know, and we've mentioned it, referenced it a few times in the last day plus of, bowlers just bowlers, and no matter what you do, some are just never going to be happy about no matter what. Others are going to be thankful and happy to be a part of it, and you got all those in between. And unfortunately, those of us on this side of the business, you just got to take it in stride. We're like, hey, how can we make it better? How can we figure this out? We're going to work through this together.
Correct.
And as we've been mentioning, from step one is, man, we're all family. We're all making this work. And, we're going to figure it out,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, one of the biggest things that I've learned as a tournament director, doing this for 6 years, I think now.
Okay.
Is you've got to learn to filter the feedback that you get.
Absolutely.
Some of it is absolutely, it's great feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is just they're frustrated because they didn't have a good block and they need somebody to vent to. So I don't take anything personally. If
you're playing the role of bartender, barber, psychiatrist. Those people need to talk to, kind of thing. Yeah, I got you.
I start putting out a tip jar.
Yes.
When they need to.
And then put up a little sign of hourly, minute by the hour, and charge a fee. And then when they start talking, they're like, menu. Look at the menu. Anyway, you can thank me for that later. Yeah, it'd be fun.
But no, I enjoy it. I mean.
Oh, for sure.
I think we've talked a little bit. Like, I used to bowl a lot, and Emil, I told Emil this. Like, I used to bowl. He's actually watched me bowl, and he's like, "Why don't you bowl more?" Like, I bowled New Mexico Open last year, and I made top 8. Like, I hadn't bowled in a month.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, I do bowl."
Must be nice. Just don't bowl 30 days, and you go make the top 8. New Mexico Open.
Let's be real, though. The left was nice. And I can throw it hard sometimes.
Sometimes. All right.
If I can get up the back of the ball and have a good look, then I'm all right. But
there you go.
No, when I was younger, I got some injuries with my wrist that my physical game doesn't allow me to make 99% of the good shots that my mind would like to do. because of my wrist. So it wears on you mentally.
Oh, for sure.
So the next best thing was, hey, let's just start running tournaments.
You're still around it. You're still, because you have the passion and the love for the sport. And that's what we've kind of talked about. It's one of those things of, no, truth be told, I think we've probably represented or said it over the course of time. We're not in this because we're all going to retire and be multi-bazillionaires. We do it because we love it and we have a passion for it. Absolutely. And in this case, we love seeing people bowl, have fun, and win a title and be the inaugural champion of an event.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, you look at the number, you know, we talked about people from different parts of the country. You know, we're Nashville. Canada. We got Minnesota in the house. We got all these different states and even countries.
Yeah.
And again, that only can open up to more, you know, and yeah, it's just a great thing. It's good.
You know, like, at the end of the day, I mean, obviously we make a little bit of money, but I'm not going to quit my day job.
Correct.
So that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You know, it's cool. It kind of makes up for missing family time.
Yeah.
And people understand that sometimes. You know, they yell at you, scream at you, or whatever, and it's like, hey, I don't have to do this. Like, I'm missing missing my kid's soccer game tomorrow.
Let me take my apron off. Let me take my name tag off here. You run it. I'm going to go watch my kid play sports or do something to my family.
Absolutely.
We got birthday parties, or we got to go, hey, to a cousin's wedding, or whatever the case.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifice when you're on this side of it, for sure.
Absolutely. But, I mean, at the end of the day, like, some of the best things that have ever happened aren't even the tournaments themselves. I've had guys that have bowled other tournaments in other states or whatever, and I just get a random text message, and they say, hey, Theo, like,
I love you, bro. Thank you.
Your tournaments make me bowling other stuff makes me appreciate your stuff that much more.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about for me. Like, absolutely. You know, on those days where you're like, God, I'm just gonna stop doing this. They don't appreciate it. Then you get a text message like that, and you're like all right, I guess
back
they
in. All right. You're a good thing I like you. All right. Yeah, I guess I'll work this weekend. No, I got you. Yeah. No. And again, we appreciate everything, and you know, it's cool when you see stuff, and I think the big thing. You know, I guess we're just the added on feature here, especially myself, knowing Carl for a long time. But it's a deal of, you know, as he's, you know, and you saw, you were part of it last night, the number of people showed up for the sweeper. Oh, yeah. And he came up to me, he's like, dude, look at all these people. I'm like, dude, what you thought was going to happen? He goes, well, we didn't think this was going to happen. And then it's a deal of, and you did, you're right. And I told him, I said, bro, it's going to happen. And there was the whole thing of the other side of it. I said, you guys have worked together, and obviously he touched upon it earlier, working together in this region, in this market, and that's what I tell people, not only just the tournament side of it, and I had this conversation with the multiple pro shops in this area. This market and bowling region is unlike any other part of the United States.
It's wild.
And it's so awesome, and I love it, because I grew up in the Midwest, and, you know, I grew up in the St. Louis area, running a pro shop, and, you know, yeah, you have your rubs and you have your this and that. And we had people. We would help, some of us would help each other out. Not everybody, but there's other parts of the country where people are not so quick to, hey, I need to do this, or hey, do you got this?
Right.
Man, these guys around here, and even going to, you know, Calderon's place, B3. You know, he's got the training center and the whole deal, and he's like, listen, dudes, like when he started hosting stuff, like he said, with manufacturers or whatever. Here's a classroom. We got a TV. Here's lanes if you need it. I'm not stealing your customers going to my pro shop, but this is something we need for the area. And everybody's like, high five, that's cool.
Right.
Like, I can tell you firsthand, being on this side of the business for a long time, if you put that someplace else, people are like, yeah, no, this is mine. You can't come here. Yeah. Like, don't even think about driving by my front door. So it's kind of crazy to me. And so the same thing anyway, back to the tournaments, you know, the fact of, like Carl said, you know, having the winner spots, having representation, working together to help build this. And I said, dude, who knows? Maybe this morphs into whether it's your events lead up to this, or, you know, and you go work hand in hand. It can go back and forth in many different directions. And again, until something like this happens, you start, because you don't even ever know the possibilities until you present one and it actually happens. And you're like, okay, now what can we do? What's next? You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I've been on his side also with, you know, I have a meal out for the Cactus Classic in the summer, and there's a lot of work that goes into one of these events.
Oh, for sure.
You know, my weekend events that I do, I mean, I have notes in my phone. I keep track of everybody that's signed up, you know, that randomly message me. But those events are super easy. Like, they've gotten to a point where literally they bowl on Sunday, and on Friday night I'm sitting home trying to just relax, and I just start entering everybody into the system, and it's ready to go on Saturday. And that's all I got to do. I don't have to do much else. But this caliber, I don't think a lot of people understand how much work goes into it. You know, there is a ton of work. And there's some guys that understand, you know, they go, hey, dude, I couldn't ever do what you do. And they appreciate it. But, you know, like I said, like we were talking about, it's really the passion for it.
Absolutely.
You have to have a passion for it.
We don't do this because it's just something to do. We do this because we love it, and it's in our blood, really.
Yeah. You know, and my family lineage of bowling goes way back. My grandmother's in her 90s, and she still bowls.
That's awesome.
She's going to outlive all of us. We always talk about that. But
yeah, it's one of the, you look at her and go, you're going to live to be like 172.
Not even joking.
Right.
When my sister and I were kids, my sister's 7 years older than me, but when we were kids, we're from San Diego.
Okay.
So we, of course, Shamu was our best friend.
Yeah.
And
right in your backyard. I get it.
Right
That's where
there.
you went swimming with Shamu all the time. Yeah, I got you.
Absolutely. So my grandmother would take us, and I mean, this is 25 years ago, 25 years ago. So she's in her 60s at this point, and we're saying, hey, Grandma, we need a break.
I'm like, hey, can you slow down a little bit?
Slow it down.
She's like, nope, you kids, let's go. Get the stepping. We got places to go, people to see. I got you.
Yeah.
I see you, G-Ma.
But it goes way back, so the passion is definitely engraved in me. And you know, when I joined the USBC board, my grandmother was happy about it. She's like, all right, cool, you know, you're giving back in that way also, and running tournaments, so it's been fun.
Very cool. No, Carl's work.
My slave driver's telling me I need to get back to work.
By the way, why don't you hand him the iPad?
I'll make.
Oh, my man does spun it around that quick. True story.
He said he wants me to hand you the iPad. I'll go get him so that the scores are right.
Oh, yes, sir. There you go.
Well, it's been good chatting with you guys.
Absolutely, brother.
I'll try to hop on with you guys tomorrow.
For sure.
Maybe I'll have a little more energy and not be so tired. So.
No, that's all right. Nothing a little Red Bull won't fix.
Right. All right, guys.
As we're watching some scores bounce around here in front of us to 220, 2-0, 224 over here on 5 and 6. We got Eddie Van Dedeker at 223 down there, top on 3 and 4. So that's going to add to his score. Got 205, 180. Down here to our right. What is that? 210? We got some decent scores again in this game. Yeah, no, that's always a great chat whenever, again, you get another tournament director, somebody who has the passion and, you know, and again, like we talked about, Carl, again, part of this whole process and doing the things we did, and Carl's like, hey, I worked with Theo, blah, 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 and I'm like, I never met him until this week, and because, again, I don't get to travel, like I told you a few weeks ago, you know, I don't get to travel out to these other amateur tournaments or youth events or stuff like that much, and, you know, I'm like, hey, man, I heard a lot about you, this and that, and he looked at me and he goes, what, you have? I'm like, yeah, dude. I said, obviously, there's plenty of people in this area that bowl, you know, and, you know, it's one of those things when you got tournaments and things are good, people are thankful they got stuff to bowl, you know.
Ramon?
250. I didn't want to say nothing. Our boy Matt here in front of us on 7 and 8. The Cloud kept it hush, distracted, and he's gonna make a ball change. I think he's going. Yep, there we go. So he's throwing urethane. Is that a different urethane ball? I think it is.
I think so.
So again, like we talked about from the get from earlier, Just playing that, see if he's going to stay out or if it's still out. Different urethane ball. Didn't see it the same way. He's like, yep, that one's probably not the answer. But again, using the pattern, using the shim as opposed to using the out of bounds. That's all in perception.
We'll see him again here on 11 and 12. Hey, Ramon and Terry and Leia. Well, Leia, you picked the right time. Perfect timing. But you knew that already because you're smart. And you figured out his cross. Or he just texted you and told you. But Ramon, yes, that was Mookie. Excuse me, Mookie was on. He was on 9 and 10, game 3, and he moved over to obviously 5 and 6. You saw him finish up there for game number 4 as we head to game number 5. Make sure I save the 189 spare replay of his. He left a 189, spared it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
This last game or the game before?
Yeah, game 3 on lane 10.
No way. Okay.
100%.
189.
189.
Yeah, save that for a rainy day.
189. It
And
happens.
again, I don't want to. So Chad here has bowled a few different squads.
He was on a big game.
He opened in the
pace.
10th, 244, 9 out. Could have been 260. Goes 9 out. Obviously frustration. Jersey came up over his head. What's that? Oh, here it is.
Shot straight at it, too.
Huh. Learn something new every day.
How about that?
The ever popular 189. But no, anyway, so yeah, obviously Chad's got figured out a decent look there. Looks like he's throwing urethane in that little spot. Yeah, unfortunately, just unforced error in the 10th.
Whoa. That wasn't a leave, was it? Michael Fitzgerald, did you just leave the 117?
No, that wasn't a thing, was it? No, they're looking for somebody. He's like, I saw you. Oh, okay. I'm like, my guy throw a 6-pounder down there? How you leaving that 1-7-10? Playing a little bouncy bounce.
Well, last time we saw Felipe in our area, he shot 279. Which is the highest game of the tournament.
Back here on 11 and 12. And I was just going to comment on Matt. I don't know if you guys saw it, or you probably couldn't see it. Before we stepped up for this shot, let's see what he's got here. Oh, touch it. So he did a little scouting on his own. And again, this is, yep, there you go, a little Spider-Man action. As we referred to, you remember the golfer, was it Camilo Villegas, would do the get down on the greens like on one foot, almost down like his chest on the ground. There's a lot of bowlers that, and for folks that don't know that, if you get down low enough, you can actually see where the ball paths are in the pattern. And so obviously, even though Matt's playing straight and using urethane out, he was still kind of trying to see the zone and see how many folks have been playing out there, probably seeing how beat up it was, because he does have the 2 urethane balls. So again, it's what we call a little self-scouting. And Robert Smith actually did that earlier today. I do recall in his block this afternoon. There's one of the couple pairs where we'll notice Robert getting down and reminiscent of the old school Robert Smith from the early 2000s of, hey, where's the oil? You know, and again, not that he was in curving it, because he did use urethane playing straighter.
Right.
But hey, how much traction, how beat up is it in that spot? So.
That's something I learned in college. You know, that's for that time, right? You anticipate learning those kinds of things at that level.
Yes.
And now, you know, the difference is you learn that at probably 12, maybe even earlier.
Or in bumper league. Yeah, we get it.
But
right.
But I would always see like players from like Wichita State doing that, right? And obviously that, and for many they still are the gold standard, but certainly at that time they were the gold standard. So I'd be like, what are they doing?
Coach V and some of the, you think about the powerhouses of college bowling from yesteryear,
Or other players who were high caliber. Maybe it wasn't the entire squad, but other players from other teams would do the same thing. Like, what are they doing? Finally, I just went up and had a conversation. Like, what's that? And then he talked about exactly that, and looking at oil streaks, where ball streaks are, and you can see exactly where an area is played, and you can see where an area has not been played. There's no ball tracks there.
Yes, and I will tell you, obviously, it gets a little bit tougher, especially in today's world, because when you get into like some of these, and I mean, obviously we could say they've been a great host this week, Bowlero, but it happens more in Bowlero centers. And granted, they've got the big screen, the white screen. If there's nothing on the backdrop and it's white, based on the reflections and the lighting in the center, sometimes it's harder to see even when you get down to look. That's why you've got to get low enough. At other places, it's easier to see than others. So, again, there's no right or wrong way, but it's one of those things that I can tell you my first exposure to that was in the, I want to say it was probably, I was still working on the ladies' tour, probably the merit doubles. That was a thing from way back in the day. And so the top 24 men, top 24 women, we'd be in Vegas. It was a big to-do. It was one of those things where they got paired up together to bowl a doubles event.
Right.
And I want to say, I think BV was probably the first one I saw do that. And
Brian Voss?
the original, the traditional Brian Voss.
Right.
And I was like, I was 19, 20 years old. I'm like, what is he doing? And then it hit me, and I'm like, oh, hey, that's pretty smart. Because again, this is like the transition shortly thereafter from urethane balls to reactive balls. Granted, reactive came out like in the mid 90s, and this and that, but there was a variety of materials, cover socks, everything like that at the time. But BV used to get down every pair. And then I forgot who he was bowling with. He's like, hey, by the way, lane 10's got this, lane 9's got that. And I forgot who he was bowling with. She goes, I'm not playing there. So, that's cool, but, I'm not playing there. But anyway, and then obviously as I move forward in my career and seeing other players do that, I never had to worry about that, for one, because I didn't have a rev rate, so I don't hook it that much. So either, back in the day, either threw it hard or I threw it harder. And that was, the gutter was playing up the gutter was my friend. So I was one of those guys that if I moved left of 8, my nose started hurting a little bit.
Wow.
That's a pretty good pitch right there.
Game 4 is updated, folks. TournamentBowl.com. That's where you can find all of the standings. Cortez Shank plus 73. Plus 73. That was his low game that we saw on 9 and 10. He shot 184.
Wow. Okay.
Eddie Van Daniker at plus 64. Brian Halen plus 50. Felipe Espriu plus 40. He's hanging on. But
He's nursing it.
Utilizing that big game, obviously, to his advantage. Had a cushion. Tied for 5th right now. Michael Fitzgerald and Matt Zwei both at plus 7. Joseph Gage plus 6. Chad Luch even after 4 games. And shoot,
okay.
What did Theo say? After 3, what was it? Plus
Wasn't much.
5, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
I think it was plus 5. He said.
Right. Yeah. Not because it was had plus or minus 20, and this is getting narrowed down. So yeah, it's single digits.
I believe it was plus 5 was the projected cut number. Again, after 3 games of this squad. We have squads 6, 7, and 8 tomorrow. 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and 6 p.m. local time. So that would be 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. Eastern. and then followed by the 2-game sprint Desperado to determine the amount of players based on entries, of course, is going to advance to the cashers round. 4 more games on Sunday morning during that cashers round. Pins will not carry over. That's very important.
Correct.
Pins will not carry over, so it'll be a kind of a quick new tournament. But all you got to do is advance to the cashers round, and you'll have a chance to make match play. In many cases, sometimes where the pins do carry over, players realistically may not have a shot at it. You got to come out and shoot. Where was I at? I was at a PBA 50 regional. G. McCune shot 1069 for 4. So you got to do that too. And in some cases, when you advance to a cashers round or something like that, and the pins do carry over, that's not the case here.
Correct.
So then 24 players will advance to match play. It will be single elimination, best 2 out of 3, and then we'll work our way to the final 4 players for a step ladder final. Chase Rhodes says, I remember when Roto Schlim bowled good.
Chase Rhodes, that's a name I haven't heard forever.
Bowl Haven.
What? Yeah, that's where I drill bowling balls. What's up, Chase? Long time no see, my man. Matt catching the crossover here. That's facing the chamois. Maybe a little confusion here on 11 and 12. But again, I mean, not shooting himself in the foot. He's got 77 in the 4th, strike up in the 5th on the crossover. And what do you got shaking over there? We've got 4-bagger, spare 3-bagger from Gabe Alvarez.
That's the young man that can play right there.
All right.
He's he went to Wichita for a brief period, I believe.
Okay.
And but I remember seeing him at junior gold. He shot 300.
Okay.
During a couple years back.
Okay.
So I had a chance to talk to him then. And saw him at Wichita for a little minute. He can play. Looks like, according to the standings, excuse me, 279. I'm sorry, 279. That's 278 is his max at the moment. But Gabe currently listed as from Las Vegas.
Okay.
Chase says, he says Red Dog was the better bowler.
Oh, absolutely. Hands down, Red Dog's my dad.
Talk Chris everything he knows.
Yeah, my pops, he finally stopped bowling this year. And that was some health. He's getting older, and I shouldn't say health issues. It's the fact of he's like, I don't bowl much anymore, and his other guys on his team are like, too busy, and you know. My dad's actually going to be 67 years old on Monday, so Red Dog is still alive and well, doing what he does, just not bowling. You know, he plays golf in the summertime. He's ready to retire.
That was a great shot there from Alvarez, and you just saw.
Absolutely.
That's 7 out of 8 for Gabe.
You know, I was just going to give props to. He's got his name here on his shirt. Name with the hat. I can't remember his name.
Kyler Adams.
Kyler. He's got spare. He went spare 4-bagger, and then he went 9 out. But again, it's still a solid game. You can still piece together something here on the backside, and make it at least 230, 240 type thing. And right here in front of us, we'll see if Matt Zweig can actually capitalize. He caught the strike there in the 5th on the crossover. Like I said, he came back chewing on his dirty chamois. Anytime you use urethane balls, there's oil. They're just oil soaked, frustration overload, I think. Let's see what the shot is here. Up it, pretty good. Oh, all right, gets a 10 out. has a chance to convert. So.
Oh, message. Gabe
Oh, yeah?
Alvarez. Well, Gabe, he's minus. Where is he? Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see that from him. Honestly, too good of a player there. 721 for 4.
Okay. Obviously, it's whatever he's figured out now. Two-handed player. Oh, that was a quick 4.
You know, the interesting thing with that, right? And of course, you know, it's like, okay, let me get that shot back, but
Yep.
based on the projected cut number, and again, still got 3 full squads to go tomorrow.
Yep.
But it's +5, you know, or it was +5 through 3 games of this squad. He was 79 under, right? Now he gets obviously a chunk of that back. Shoots 278. He's
almost.
won.
Yeah, I'd say he's well. Even with that right now, he's almost back to par
He's almost back, and then thinking about where the number might actually end up
with a game to play.
with a game to play.
I mean, he posts. I mean, he might. I mean,
Changes
230.
the whole story.
230. I think he's got a good pop.
Changes the whole story.
And anything above that is going to be legit, you know. So 67 wipes out, and he's back to single digits negative. And again, based on the number of entries, and you know, and we've talked about the cut number kind of hovering, and not saying it's going to happen, but it could go down. That's a thing because again, we're based on overall numbers. And, you know, we've still got more squads tomorrow. And if, hypothetically speaking, you know, it doesn't, you know, the cut number in an event like this doesn't have to go up. So, again, man, he's given himself at least a fighting chance going in the last game. And, you know, it could be the little backdoor sneaky sneak. That's a pretty good pitch right there.
Nice job there. That's Garrett Strail. So he's going to be in the 230s.
Yep.
And Garrett was struggling a little bit as well. But just like Gabe, in a similar situation, Garrett here minus 87, but now he's going to get at least 30 back, 30 plus with the game to go. I apologize, folks, if you hear some kind of that crinkling or something along those lines. I had to go with the Ricola. I probably wasn't going to make it to finish this block.
Ricola.
So I apologize. Mr. Hardesty. Take care of that spare, which he did. Boy, Chad's had some opportunities here tonight. Let's see where he is in the standings. So again, he's even. 192, 196, 168, then 244.
Yep. Yeah, so he's bowled a handful of squads now. You know, him and I talked about some bowl balls. I know he's frustrated, but he's found a little something with the urethane ball.
I was trying to figure out what he's throwing.
He's throwing a fast pitch, which is a ball we don't manufacture anymore. But when you know, he'd asked me, he's like, "Slam, I got some questions about bowling balls," because he's a 900 global staffer, and we got talking. He's like, "Well, I got a fast pitch." I'm like, "Where did we get a fast pitch? Like, we already stopped making those by the time you were kind of affiliated." He goes, "So and so had a so and so and knew a so and so," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so anyway, yeah, just it creates another option. Again, when you get into instances like this, and again, it's not because the pattern is dictating it. Well, I guess it is to a degree because the pattern is tough, but you have the surface, the amount of friction on a lean surface, which adds to why you're choosing certain balls, playing a certain way, you know. That's a pretty good pitch right there.
So we went from, just thinking back to when we started, squad one yesterday.
Yep.
And how obviously, all of the watching, discussions of bowlers amongst bowlers, watching in person, watching the live stream. And we went from very minimal urethane usage to not complete urethane usage,
But more than expected.
a very significant uptick in urethane usage the last two squads.
I'm pretty sure there was the comment in the chat yesterday was said, Thane ain't no play. And Thane, for some folks, is come in play.
It is in play for sure.
And again, it's the number of people, which, we got 3 in a pair, but it's, again, how they're attacking them, how they're playing them. And playing the pattern in a lane that best suits you. Because I think the other part of it that we got to factor in is, so there is Thane being used, but every person throwing Thane is not playing the exact same way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a couple different zones there, and ball speeds and rev rates and other variables that come into it. I mean, now granted, are they keeping the angles in front of them and straight up the lane? Absolutely. But it's different for each person. So there's, it's part of the evolution of the sport, and everybody does it a little bit different. There's no right or wrong way, if you will.
I like what Matt Jones is doing, and his score is, unfortunately, if you look at it, you say, well, what's this guy doing? He won the sweeper last night, right? Well, he got off to a slow start, and I think and I don't know when, but I'm thinking after a few frames into this one, he said, I'm not going to be able to, this block is not going to happen for me. So I'm going to spend the last game and a half or two or whatever.
Yep.
And figure out what I can do for tomorrow. And, so he's been around the gutter, urethane, coming back, trying to make sure that feel is right and he can get the ball with his hand where he needs it to be so he can be successful tomorrow, whatever time he bowls. And I'm assuming he's going to bowl again. That's I'd be 99.9% sure that Matt Jones will bowl tomorrow.
That's a pretty good pitch right there.
I tell you, I've watched
Matt
enough
finally
of
catching a double there on 11 and 12.
Right, since I watched enough of Matt Zweig. Not today, but I feel like within the last couple of years at various events, mostly in this area. And if you give him the gutter and allow him to get comfortable,
Kind of his happy place.
he's going to beat you too. But he's also, you remember I said yesterday, he's also someone who's not afraid to take risks. When we talk about throwing a different ball in each lane, etc.
Yep.
So he'll hop over to 5th, 6th arrow off that gutter cap in a minute too. He's got that versatility.
Gotcha.
But I've just seen him perform well when the gutter is available, and sometimes even when it's not. He's that guy to be doing it, and others aren't.
Got out even a touch more on that shot. That actually was out off the 1-2 split. Kind of basically the seam of 1-2, and again, he's going to put 2 teen up on the board, so that's a good positive step forward as well.
Big save.
Yep, for sure. And not that it was even a save; it was just, again, he had the personal frustration. Like I said, he came back, he caught the crossover there in the 5th, and again, the move, especially on this left lane on lane 11, was going farther right.
You said 2 teen, and I was looking at the wrong score.
Oh, no worries, all good.
But to catch that double into a triple,
Yep.
is the most important, obviously, part of that situation.
Yep. And so, yeah, he jumped on that left lane. He got to the spot. He's like, okay, that was a better shot. And again, it comes back to what the secret sauce aspect of it from those who can play straighter. And again, it's a touch of feel when you're a straight player, not necessarily being able to circle it, because even those, well, I guess I guess we can spin it the other way. I mean, you look at what Robert did earlier and the fact of my man can play straight, and there were some times on tour way back in the day he was really good at playing straight, like playing a lip. Not as good now, but his rev rate's on the high side. So it's keeping his angles in front of him, being able to hit it. So he used that quote-unquote shim or hold, which prior to, obviously in squads before, and even we witnessed in his challenge, his cash match last night, that turned into over-under. And he took that to his advantage and actually used it as, hey, there's a spot. And, of course, the ones that he over-grabbed or, get his thumb, an elbow, those are going to go through the face no matter how you cut it, slice it, dice it. You're going to steer it that way. But it allowed him to keep stuff in play. And there you go, Chad, converting a spare. Give a man a clap. Come on now. He, after the 9 out, the last game for 240, which could have been 260. Because again, he's pulled a few squads now, and he's, obviously the frustration, and he's like, I'm going to bowl again. And then finally he got finished today, and he's like, I go, you going to bowl again? He's like, and he kind of gave me that look and tilted his head. He's like debating it, and obviously I think he's right now. If we were to ask him, he's like, I'm glad I bowled again because this is going to be his high set going in, giving himself the opportunity going to the last game. So. And again, pretty good pitch, and that's the deal. Getting it going forward in that little shoot, in that little slot, which now gives him, because he's right on even going in, right?
He was even after 4 games.
Okay, it's a nice 25 with
it's plus 25 with 1 to go.
Ball in his court.
Situation that everyone would love to have.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Robert Smith, so I got a chance to catch up with him a little bit.
Okay.
Prior to the start of this squad.
Okay.
And he said, late, as we watched, late in the match last night.
Yeah.
He said he just wasn't able to like slow his hand down, and towards the end of that 138 game where he made the switch to the purple hammer. And obviously the shots were so much better. He was able to slow his hand down. He said he could still hit it if he wanted to. Mm-hmm. But he was able to slow his hand down and project it better. And today's performance, to a degree, is certainly related to him kind of figuring out. I got that feel back of just allowing his hand to do what it does naturally, but
correct.
But
not having to force it or feel like you have to create something.
Right. And he said he threw a pitch black for the majority of the day.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him briefly throw a purple hammer on the low end here. And he said, but he got back to the pitch black as soon as he made the flip.
Yep. And so, again, I'm trying not to do the cloud part, but obviously Cortez, we'll see what I don't know, Cortez had that last game, but he is going to step up here on 18. Yep. He's got the front 3 to start this last game. So again, we'll wait and see what he had the game prior. Because Tez has had a pretty good look.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he was throwing Thane earlier. I'm assuming he's still in that boat.
Well, I've been, every event that I've done, whether it's, my platform, Bowlstream TV, or with Bowl TV, and with the topic of urethane, or if I see urethane, I'll go, and I got to drill up a urethane piece just to, in the chat combo might be, someone's either hasn't thrown like a newer urethane piece, or they still just haven't figured out how to make it work for them.
Correct.
Right, so we'll get into that conversation. I'm like, man, I need to drill one myself because I haven't thrown them. Purple hammer, pitch black, newer urethane pieces of our current game. I don't bowl that much anymore, so I haven't had a reason to. But I'd like to do it just so I can add a little bit of
insight to it.
Yeah, right?
Gotcha.
But watching this and like remembering myself and where I would prefer to play when I was actually good at bowling at one point. And I'm watching people be playing out with urethane. And I'm like, this is exactly what I'd be doing. I'd be playing there. I would love to play there. Telling me I could play there, and I just got to make sure my ankle's proper from that part of the lane. Yeah, I'll take my chances.
And I will tell you, there's a reason why how do I put this? Old school legends of the game didn't really throw urethane here recently. Obviously, one of the more recent ones you can say you've seen, obviously Parker had some spots, and again, that's just been within the last year plus, like on the senior tour. But when you talk about, you look like the Walters, the Petes, the Norms. When you talk about the recent greats, those that are, as we mentioned, are now super seniors. Urethane is not a factor to them because they grew up making urethane. They made a career out of urethane, and as and I can tell you, as they always give Walter a hard time, like, you weren't nothing until reactive resin, because the urethane balls, and honestly, it was, and Walter will tell you, obviously it helped change the complexity of the game, and he did benefit from reactive resin, because when it was the urethane balls prior to, yeah, he was a shot maker, but it didn't benefit him, I guess, per se. In the fact of, there's always, and I'm going to throw something at you, and I know, Emil, you just brought it up of the modern game, and, hey, if I'm going to get back into bowling, urethane. And actually, what's funny is I had this conversation with Simo, Anthony Simonson, last week, because he came to Utah, obviously for the celebration for Bill Chrisman. We also shot some video stuff, and we tossed some other. He tossed some other balls, and we had some of the other guys, Klumpkin and Chad McLean and Chade Peterson, Ken Fong, other guys in their office. We got to talk about urethane, and I don't know, something came up, and I said, Simo, how much urethane did you throw on tour this year? And he looked at me, he goes, I didn't. And the other guys were like, wait, what? And I go, yeah, you guys didn't realize. I said, you look at what the season that E.J. Tackett and Anthony Simonson had on tour, minimal use of urethane. And Simo goes, and he thought about it for a minute, and he goes, if I had to guess, he goes, I maybe had 8 games the entire season with urethane. And he goes, EJ probably had less than that. So it puts it in perspective, the guys that try to make it work, maybe when it's not in play, and those guys that, the 2 guys that had the greatest year on tour, they were head and shoulders above the rest of the field, like seemingly every week. They weren't using urethane.
Why do you think that is, or was?
And what Simo explained to me is the fact of kind of what we talked about, where the pattern is. He goes, you see the pattern, you see the stuff. He goes, and the guys are using this. He goes, and with the way, again, you get in lane maintenance and how machines work and the types of oil and those kind of things. He goes, it turned into hold for me down lane, so I could get away with a bigger ball. I could then manipulate it with my hand and not feel like I had to manufacture strikes, if you will. Because, again, you got to remember, Simo's the lowest rev rate of pretty much all the two-handers, if not I think he is the lowest. And now, like he said, there was, the couple games where he could get it is when he could really jam it, keep it on line in front of him. But he'd only get like 1 or 2 games, and he's like, then I felt reactive was better because then I could get left and circle it because I had hold down lane. Reactive balls are going to hit better. And I got to say, I haven't talked to EJ about it, but I'm assuming he had the same kind of mentality because those guys would do things that other guys weren't doing. So it's interesting. Yeah, it kind of goes, both ways in that regard of some guys relied heavily on urethane. But like I said, the two guys that they're battling for Player of the Year, urethane wasn't a thing. So
It's good stuff right there from
Yes,
Roto
sir.
Schlim. If you're just joining us, this is the final game, final squad of the day. Third and final of the day. We'll have 3 more coming at you tomorrow. Game 6, Emil Williams Jr. with Roto Schlim. Roto Grip brand manager Chris Schlimmer.
yes, sir.
Carl Long has been with us. Big thanks to Phil Hanna for joining us as well, talking about Arizona bowling, great partnerships he has developed, of course, with not only Carl, Theo, and other tournament directors here locally. As we close it out for you, Game 5 standings are updated thanks to Theo. Cortez shot 177.
Okay.
So he's still your leader of this squad, but at plus 50. Eddie Van Daniker and Brian Halen at plus 45. Chad Luch plus 25, as we saw. Matt Zweig now plus 24. Felipe Espriu at plus 10. He's hanging on.
Yes, sir.
Joseph Gage at plus 9. We got Gabe Alvarez here at minus 12. Mike Hardesty is at minus 15. Kyler Adams is minus 34. Garrett Strail and Brad Erickson at minus 50. Boy, Michael Fitzgerald was in a good position and unfortunately shot 137.
Zinger. Now, I can tell you from what I can see here, like I said, Cortez is down there on 17-18. He started, let's see, 3-bagger, spare, strike. So he's 139, strike up in the 7th. So, again, looking at a pretty solid game this game.
Theo did also tell me that through Game 5 of this squad, the cut number is now plus 9.
Okay.
Plus 9, the cut number through 5 games. This squad overall plus 9.
70, huh? Sorry. Was that my out loud voice? My bad.
I mean, that's about on par with the Cloud. Like those two are now even.
Yeah, but man, I mean, like I said, oh, man, I thought he might touch it with both of those, right? Coming out of the pit. All right. And that's pretty good right there. So Matt Zweig actually has got a pair he likes down there on 15 and 16. 3-bagger, 8-spare strike. So we'll see how that shakes out there for him down the stretch. Yeah, no, well, it's kind of like the deal last night that we talked about during the sweeper. You know, and again, props to you for getting the closest. You were within a pin.
You went over within a pin on the.
You were over by a pin, but you were within a pin. You know, the showcase showdown. You would have won. You would have lost.
I mean, how bad would that have been? I could have had 2 showcases and instead walked away with 0.
Exactly. But it was the deal of, how it, like I said, it was entertaining and fun with you and Rob, and the fact of, oh, hey, it's going to keep going. And all of a sudden you're like, oh no, can we change our votes? Can we change what we picked? But I think we're saying the same thing here. And again, the same factors are holding true. Again, it's who's on your pair, what your cross is, how you're attacking him, how to utilize them. Oh, and of course, I give the Cortez a cloud. My guy just went 6-3 in the 9th. Still can fill the 10th have an okay game, but not what the potential was. But yeah, it's right place, right time, figuring it out. I've got Matt Jones down there with a 2-0 or something. I think he's top left on 3 and 4. A 2-0 left, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty solid game here, clean. figuring some stuff out for tomorrow. So that purple might be in play. Chris Spinner came out here on 7 and 8, an early double, and I thought maybe he could figure out a way to make a run here late. I don't know if my man Ramon is still watching. I know it's Central Time in Nashville, and his wife Brenda. Make sure I email Brenda so we can have some more discussions on some things. But they revolve around sponsors, and we've been talking about sponsors and stuff. And
Yep.
I just said, a couple minutes ago, I apologize to the viewers, but I had to get that Ricola going.
Yes, sir.
My throat lozenges, and I said, man, that really helped me. My throat feels so much better. Let me give Ricola a call.
Maybe you could be on staff. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Throw it in the air and see if, the stars align.
I have no issues putting up any throat lozenge bag on any broadcast booth table that I'm at.
I will wear a patch on my shirt. You're like, I'll even get a tattoo on my forehead. That's fine. Whatever y'all want to do, that's cool.
Well, I will sing the jingle. Yeah, happy to do it. So Cortez is finishing up. Right?
Yep. And he's got 60, 80. He's got 190. Looks like 193 in the 9th, which was an open. So it's a matter of what he can fill here in the 10th.
All right. So
does he like it? That was 10 back.
Thinking if he doubles, he's certainly all right. Good to see Brian Halen have himself a nice block. The last few times I've seen him bowl in person, he's had been struggling. I just didn't. Which was weird for me to see. Wasn't expecting. He's out there getting it done today.
Absolutely. And again, and unexpected struggles, or maybe not seen it the right way, and maybe it could have been there's an aha moment or something that happened at some point in time that, hey, I can do that, or hey, this ball needs this to do this. Again, it's just piecing it together and make it all click. And Cortez does catch it all down there, so he's now put himself into
shots.
Either 210 or 220, I think, is what he's got down there. Again, I'm trying to catch it from, he's on lane 18. That's 10 back. The score pops up. As the scorer said, whack. It was 10 back for sure. Turkey. Yep, that's 223. So 220-something pins is 223 or 221? It's on 220. Let's put that at least 220 in there. So there's 2-2 something.
I think it's a 3. Either way, so he'll be plus 70 at least.
That's pretty solid.
Well, there's two things I'm going to say about tomorrow.
Okay. That is Saturday?
That is a 3.
Okay.
That it is Saturday.
Yep. Final day of qualifying?
Final day of qualifying.
Okay.
And based on squads 4 and 5 and some of the things that really good players have figured out, that someone like a Greg Thompson Jr., who would prefer to play out, might have some success tomorrow. Someone like Anthony Simonson, who has a lot of tools.
He does.
In the toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
Who certainly can play anywhere on the lane, but certainly play out.
Yep.
might have some success. And anyone else with that attitude or mindset tomorrow, it could be a lot of good things tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Should be, it's going to be exciting either way because it's a cut day.
Oh, for sure.
But, man.
Okay. So we've got to give the update down there off 15 and 16. Matt Zoeg, he went 3-bagger, 8 spare, 3-bagger, 8 spare. So he's got some room left here this last game. He was up there, what, 5th?
Yeah, Matt
Plus
24.
24. So he's got some room, see what we can piece together here down the stretch.
Mr. Zweig, his sister Leia was watching.
Yeah.
Their mom turned, wow.
Oof. Hey, first one ever. Aaron with a stone 9 over here on 7 and 8.
I'm
giving us the thumbs up.
Had another birthday.
First one ever.
Again, happy birthday to Mrs. Zweig.
Yes,
Lisa.
happy birthday.
There's a lot of birthdays
Yeah.
in like the last 2 days. I've come to realize now.
Pretty good pitch right
Good
there.
shot. Good shot. Nice shot there, Brad. He could finish with 231.
Can't be mad about that. You got to
No.
take that and run. And that's a pretty good pitch, 10 back. So it gives him 96th in the 8th, strike up in the 9th. So he's going to look to capitalize there to finish out game 5. Talking in reference to Matt Zweig down there on 15 and 16 right here in front of us.
It's a big 10th frame here for Brad Erickson. He
Yeah.
throws all 3 in the 10th. He can get to minus 19.
Not a bad option. Crossover, carry it.
Oh.
Oh, Daddy, come on,
Neil
yo.
with the slap off in the back.
Come on, yo. Push it. That was a
Let's
slap
go.
push forward. He's like, ooh.
Let's go. But now, the way the cut number is trending, right? Minus 19 would be that conversation we've been having earlier. Like, oh boy, should I bowl again? Like minus 19 would be like, there's too much at stake or too many bowlers left to say. I don't know if it's going to go down. It could, but you can't chance that.
So I just had this conversation with Kyle Duster a moment ago. He's at plus 40. And he has 2 more entries already at 8 and 1 signed up in theory.
Okay.
Paid
Yep.
already.
Yep.
He then asked me, I might just cancel the 8 and go to 1. I suggested to him, why don't you move the 8 to the 6 and then see after the 8 a.m. squad, should you want to bowl for 1. And I reminded him, you've only bowled once. If you continue to roll your squads and not bowl, depending on where that cut is after 1 o'clock, do you determine how close you are? Because what if the cut's, let's say just hypothetically 20 over after 1 o'clock? When
Okay.
you're within 20 of the number, knowing that you cannot bowl the Desperado at 6 after your 6 o'clock squad, do you then bowl the 6 o'clock squad to try to better your score?
Again, it comes back to like we talked.
That's a lot
Everybody
of
has a different.
hypotheticals right there.
Right. But just
My man just went philosophizer
No,
on us right
but,
there. There was some
I mean,
philosophizing going on right there. But you're right.
It's truthful stuff.
It's
something we got to think
it's
about.
perceptive. How do you think or view it? Again, there's no right or wrong way. Again, we're throwing it out there. You brought it up. You talk about it, but somebody else might see it differently in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, it's what you're. How about that conversion?
What was
Did
that?
you get that? It was a washout. First shot in the 10th, he washed out, so he went 7, converts it. So he's got 216.
He's in the 230s.
He's in the 230s. So, but yeah, converting the washout to get to the 230s. which is then going to bump him to plus 50. So, hey, it's because he's plus 24.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. 231. He parlayed it here in front of us. The crossover.
If he strikes, it's plus 60 even.
But anyways, it's food for thought, I guess,
Yep.
as we wind down Friday night.
Yes, sir.
You know, so what do you guys think? 5 squads in.
I think it's been awesome. I think it's been great. I think, you know, you've tested the wits. Again, I don't think there's. I mean, obviously, some folks are frustrated, I think, because they know that they're maybe not throwing the quality shots they need to or haven't figured it out, and they're bound and determined to figure it out. Others have seen it that, hey, I got to make shots. And, yeah, I think there's. I mean, I haven't seen anybody really go like crazy off the handle, like totally get a whack, you know?
Right. I think there's just so many quality talent out here that, like, so many of them are on the cusp of just breaking out
10 back.
and clipping a number,
Yep.
a solid number. And
I think he's happy about that. Matt puts 236. So
Yes,
that
plus
What is that?
60.
gets into plus 60.
okay.
Got to think that's pretty solid.
Yeah,
That was your number you
that's
predicted
the number
from,
I've been
from the get-go.
So
And obviously that throws him up towards the top.
top, right? Absolutely. So that is a monster number
Yes, sir.
to get there to close out, squad 5
Mm-hmm.
and the conclusion of Friday. We're down to the wire now. I know it's 3 more games. We barely just got halfway, but it's just 1 day away now. I mean, this time tomorrow, we should have at least the official cut store going into the Desperado.
True
Even
story.
a little early, because we're starting an hour early tomorrow. So everyone at home watching or planning to come out bowl, tomorrow's squad is 8 a.m. Check-in starts at 7 a.m.
Sweet.
Because of the Desperado squad,
Yep.
I'm trying to move everything an hour up, so we're not here till 2 in the morning. I'm trying my best, guys.
Perfect.
And Emil,
Yeah.
thank you again. You've literally sat in this booth from start to finish. Every squad, every ball.
Legend.
Unbelievable. So I owe you lunch. I owe you dinner. I owe you some drinks. And you just let me know when you want to collect on all of that. So I promise you deserve it all. You earned it all.
You owe him dessert, too. Just
Oh,
let him know.
and you know what?
well.
I don't know if I can do better than Miss Hardesty in
Yeah.
the cupcakes, but I will sure try. And by the way,
Jeff's coming
I didn't
with
get
stuff
my
too.
cupcake.
It's they're here. I didn't
All right.
open them, so go right ahead.
This guy just refuses to eat. That's
Go
why
right
you're.
ahead.
That's why you're
Well,
so
no.
thin, sir.
No,
we went to
God,
lunch
no,
today.
that's
I
not
saw him eat. I watched him. There was intake
We
of
broke
food.
bread once.
Yeah.
We went to the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
That's true. That's true. So yes, proof that I did eat.
I've seen him eat. Yes, that is not a myth.
No, it was funny you said that actually, because about game 4, I was like, I didn't eat those. I didn't taste these cupcakes yet. So, and so I was like, I'll just wait till after the squad is complete. In fact, it's a good idea. We should do it after the squad. Once we go off the air in a couple minutes, we should all have one.
Sure.
If y'all are good with that,
I'd
right?
love to have one.
It's early enough to where it's like 9:50, right? It's not
We
like
can get a good night's sleep for the first
Yes.
time since the whole thing got put together Wednesday.
That's right. So as a smart man once told me, you got to get off the air. And so that's what we're going to do to get that good night's sleep. So
Yes, sir.
I do want to thank, of course, Team Agent Ong, my home group, Brightside Catering, Mark Powell, Travel 24/7, WeSpeakWifi.com, Create Proof Front, or Print Front, excuse me, and Unwind. Did you ever go see Unwind, by the way?
I did not.
Okay.
By the time I figured out whatever they had, it kind of stuck out. So hopefully
Well, they'll
maybe
be here tomorrow.
Tomorrow, perfect. Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm going to need a neck crack to hopefully release the black cloud.
I can try that. Would
Yep.
you let me try to crack your neck?
No, I'm good. I would prefer a trained professional, sir.
You don't know. You said I was a man of many trades. You never know. Neck cracker
I mean,
might be
I'm
one
not
of
doubting your ninja skills. How ninja skills transfer to chiropractic skills. kind of like my
That's
neck
funny.
and being able to turn my head different directions.
I can make sure it turns.
Okay. Yeah.
One time.
Let's try it. Just one time.
Just one time.
Yep.
All the way around. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're just, I think we're delirious at this point. We should get off there.
We got to get off the air. Thanks to Bowling Dynamics, EVFB, East Valley
Fans and Blinds.
Fans and Blinds.
They're
I
awesome.
Am Bowling. Angela Ziever, the wonderful swim instructor. Ramsey Auto Center since 1977, and Burke Brothers. We leave you with the championship belts on your screen of the
strap.
inaugural Agent Ong Open. The winner will receive $10,000 and that wonderful belt. At least they'll be able to take pictures and hold it for a minute, but they will receive a specific plate that's theirs to keep. And then the belt will, to a degree, have a little traveling to it if they'd like. But it's the tournament belt, and
It will go on for future years to come should we continue to do it.
well, I think we all know the answer on that, but we'll wait till it all plays out on Sunday. Having said all of that, folks, it's been wonderful. 3 great squads today. We saw some scores certainly go up. Will they continue to go up tomorrow? That is the question. We will find that out. Will we see the continued strategies that we've had seen, right? Outside looking pretty good. Folks having success with urethane. Will that continue? That's also to be determined all tomorrow. So plenty to watch. Again, 1 hour earlier, 8 a.m. Arizona time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, right here on Bowlstream TV. So I'd like to thank Phil Hanna for joining us today. One of our guests, of course, Carl Ohm, the creator of the Agent Ong Open. Roto Schlim, Chris Schlimmer.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you, Chris. My name is Emil Williams Jr. We say so long for now. This has been a presentation of Squad 5, the inaugural Agent Ong Open. You watched it live and only on Bowlstream TV. Good night, folks.